And in a surprise move, Rubio also announced earlier that he would take over as the acting head of the U.S. Agency for International Development, also known as USAID. Rubio has since said he will delegate authority to Pete Morocco, who served at USAID for the first Trump term. Well, President Trump has said he has the power to scrap the agency, telling CNN, quote, "Those people are lunatics." He added that he doesn't need Congress to sign off on any plan to reduce the agency's role. USAID closed its main office in Washington earlier Monday, with multiple sources telling us that employees were told to stay home. Well, let's unpack what all of this means, particularly for countries and organizations that rely on USAID. Jeremy Konyndyk is the president of Refugees International and the former director of USAID's Office of U.S. Foreign Disaster Assistance. He joins us now from Washington. Good to have you with us.
Thank you.
So, Jeremy, one of the richest men on the planet, Elon Musk, is working with Donald Trump to shut down this agency that help some of the world's poorest. Right now, we're being told that USAID workers are being told don't come into work. We've heard about the blanket freeze on most programs. What are those within the agency telling you?
Well, people are, of course, traumatized by what they have been put through over the past few weeks. Elon Musk over the weekend described what he was doing to USAID as putting the agency in the wood chipper. And I think a lot of the staff very much feel that way. These are people who have dedicated their lives and careers to advancing development and humanitarian relief on behalf of their country around the world. I have worked with many of these people. I served with them and alongside them when I worked at USAID in the Obama and Biden administrations. And, these are people who went into the Ebola hot zone in West Africa in 2014. These are people who get on a plane as soon as there is an earthquake somewhere in the world to go support the rescue effort and help to pull people out of the rubble. These are people who have helped to contain and turn around the HIV epidemic in Africa. These are people who served in Afghanistan and Iraq to help rebuild those countries after the war. They have sacrificed enormous amounts on behalf of their country because they believe in the mission of USAID, and that is now being not just disrespected, but frankly stomped upon and spat upon by their own government.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, no one would be against improving efficiencies at any agency or organization, but to stop all the work while this efficiency assessment runs seems risky for all those who rely on it. I just want to play some sound from the President Donald Trump and his description about the leadership at USAID.
It's been run by a bunch of radical lunatics, and we're getting them out. USAID, run by radical lunatics, and we're getting them out, and then we'll make a decision.
Do you know if Donald Trump has met any of the leadership at USAID? Can you describe the senior leadership there for us?
I am sure that he has not. The senior leadership there are career staff. The people who were there until he bounced, or his team bounced many of them out involuntarily just a week ago. They were people who served at AID with distinction and with honor during the first Trump administration. And they worked under the leadership that he put in place at the agency. To call them radicals is, disrespectful, of course, but it's also it's wrong and it's ridiculous. The way the U.S. government works is when a new administration comes in, they bring in their own leadership to a new agency, and the career staff of that agency then follow that leadership. That's what happens each time there is a change of power. This is not about efficiency. This is not about improving the mission and effectiveness of USAID. This is about destroying it. And I think if you look at what Elon Musk has been saying, that's very, very clear. They are making up stories. They are making up disinformation and spreading disinformation about both the staff and the work of USAID. And it is as an excuse to destroy the agency.
And Jeremy, you mentioned some of the disasters, pandemics, epidemics, where USAID comes in to assist and help. Talk to us about the sort of programs that are impacted. I understand it includes vaccination programs, education programs. Take us through it.
Yeah, USAID does good around the world in many, many ways. So global health is a really important one. helping to eradicate polio. That has been a core mission for USAID for many years, and has helped to bring polio almost to elimination around the world. Right now, there is an Ebola outbreak in Uganda. Now, that is a situation where normally you would have USAID and CDC deploying out alongside the World Health Organization in order to get that pretty frightening outbreak under control. Instead, USAID is being gutted. CDC is not allowed to even talk to the World Health Organization, and WHO is kind of left on its own to fight this without those critical allies. That's not how we defeated Ebola in West Africa in 2014, a response that I helped to lead at that time. And it's really frightening to think of a world where we don't have those kind of capabilities available on the front lines of crises around the world.
We heard from Marco Rubio earlier saying that he's the acting director of this agency under the State Department. He's since said he's going to delegate the authority. But before saying that, he said that this agency runs counter to what we're trying to achieve, what the US government under Trump is trying to achieve. Would you agree? What do you make of those sort of comments?
Well, it's very strange because, again, they've already run USAID once for 4 years, and you heard nothing like that kind of rhetoric. The agency, frankly, was not very different from what it is today. And I would really challenge the Trump administration and challenge Secretary Rubio to talk specifically. What are the policies that he believes were countermanded by the senior leadership at USAID? What specifically were the offenses that he's referring to? Because the only things that they've pointed to are things like the ridiculous story about $50 million worth of condoms for Gaza, which has been like debunked and debunked and debunked. And I think when you peel back this insinuation and kind of disinformation rhetoric that they're throwing out there, there's really not much underneath it of substance.
Yeah, it's hard to push back when this disinformation keeps getting pushed out, but we appreciate you and your efforts. Jeremy Konyndyk, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.